Good evening, Africa. My name is Eunice Tornyi, and this is the African Women's Voices, the show that tackles issues pertaining to women as we contribute to national development. You're so welcome to the show. And today on the show, we're going to be speaking with Philippa Prempeh from the She community, and she'll be talking to us about global SDGs, the Agenda 158 dialogue. And also in the show today, we're going to be speaking to a matron from Ridge Hospital. But just before we get them on board, let's be taking right now our 60 seconds update. On our news update this week, WHO stated in 2018 that there was an estimated 500 new cases of cervical cancer globally with this form of cancer, having a high mortality rate, especially in low to middle income countries. According to the U.S. National Cancer Institute, studies predict that vaccinating girls between the ages of 11 and 12 against HPV could lead to an 89.4% reduction in cases in the next century. Also, getting screened at least twice in one's lifetime can reduce its incidence by 96.7% and avert 2.1 million new cases. Khadija Amwa has been appointed as the first Ghanaian woman to lead an oil operating firm in the country, Aker Energy, as the country director. On her appointment, the CEO of Aker Energy said, "With Khadija's experience, I am confident that she will lead with success as we move towards the development phase of Pecan Project offshore Ghana." Congratulations, Khadija. According to newsghana.com, Ghana Olympic Committee Women's Commission Chairperson, Madam Elizabeth Keane, has called for more grassroots talent hunt and educational support to support women in Ghana. She said motivation is key in getting girls in sports to address the concern or question of what to do after sporting exploits or career. That's all for our 60 seconds update. And earlier, I told you that we're going to be meeting Philippa Prempeh, the founder of She Community. She is going to be talking to us about the Global SDGs Agenda 1, 5, and 8. Hi, Philippa.
Hello.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on your wonderful show.
Thank you,
I'm glad I'm here.
Thank you. So what is the She Community?
All right, so She Community is a developmental organization. We are focused on entrepreneurship and personal development. Now, the reason why we have She Community today is because She Community has embarked on a journey to build an Africa of entrepreneurs. Africa that is free of people, especially women who are poverty-driven, women who are not self-sustained, entrepreneurs that inspire, entrepreneurs that tell the story of Africa. So this is what informed She Community Ghana. And currently, She Community Ghana has about 870 members in our network, in our community. And yes, the basics of She Community Ghana, that's it. We are into entrepreneurship and we are into personal development. One, because we believe that before a people or a nation will be developed, it starts from the development of the individuals. So we are working both on the individuals and their gifts, their talents, their skills that will inform the world about the precious things that Africa has to offer.
Okay, and when you say these individuals, they are women, of course, because we actually see to it that life continues.
Exactly.
We birth these individuals you're talking
Exactly.
about. All right, so when you say you have about over 800 women participating, what kind of women? Are we looking at, you know, educated women, semi-literate women? What kind of women are we looking at here?
Okay, so 870 people in our community currently, though we've had about 2,000 entrepreneurs and professionals going through our network, going through different projects that we have for the past 3 years. But for the SDGs Global Agenda, the dialogue that we are going to have, we have currently 250 women who are on board. And then these women are made up of professionals, entrepreneurs, and even people who are, let me say, semi-literates. But majority of the members on this platform who are embarking on this agenda are entrepreneurs and business professionals.
Okay, so how has your messaging been? So if you have more of these women who are educated, how are you able to reach the grassroots? How can we get such people on board?
Okay, so that informs the dialogue actually. Government is doing their best, but then we believe that the larger work depends on the people. So that's the reason why we are bringing these women together. Women with skills, women with knowledge, women with power, women with ideas, women with the passion to drive Africa to a certain level. So we are bringing the women together to dialogue on this particular issue, to find ways and means of getting to the grassroots with the information on SDGs and how they can be part of this whole growth and development process.
Okay, and the issue being the SDG Agenda 1, 5, and 8. And do you think that we have a lot of women who really know what the agenda is?
Not really. That's the sad aspect of it, because this is something that the whole of Africa, the whole of the world are driving. And Ghana has our own agendas that we are driving for the betterment of the people and the nation. But here's the case that we have a few people even understanding what SDGs are. So when you mention SDGs, oh, what is SDGs? Mm-hmm. Even the literate, even those who, quote and unquote, are informed, are educated, are asking the question, what's is SDG? So it means that lots of education have to be done, and that's the reason that we are going to find ways and means, practical ways, because we are doing a lot of theory work, theoretical aspect, doing a lot of forums, a lot of seminars, a lot of international conferences, but the practical aspect has been left behind. So we have to involve everybody, use a participatory approach to get everybody involved in this.
So this is to say that you want to contribute to creating the awareness around SDGs and what they actually are.
Yes.
Okay, so for the purposes of those of us, or for the people who don't really know what SDG 1, 5, and 8,
okay,
this is an opportunity to let them know what it is.
Okay, so SDG 1 is actually poverty eradication. And then 5 is gender equality. And then 8 is economic growth, right? Or decent jobs.
Okay.
Now, these three work together. If we are trying to create an Africa which is independent of other nations, an Africa which tells its own story through the unique things that we have, then it means that we have to find a way to practicalize everything that we do and get rid of poverty, bridge the gap in gender parity, and through that grow our economy. These three work hand in hand, because once you are developing the people, building the minds, teaching them, helping them to master their arts, you are giving people job opportunities. You are teaching people to be independent, right? Mm-hmm. Then through that, we are able to create jobs which will be eradicating poverty. Now we focus on women a lot. So building women, showing women how to develop themselves, their skills, building them knowledge-wise. We are bridging the gap in gender parity. And then once a lot of people are mastering their art, we are developing a lot of entrepreneurs. Our economy is growing through that.
Okay, so what practical things are you doing on ground to ensure that this SDG 1, around poverty, is being eradicated? Because yes, you've spoken about the theoretical part of it. What's happening on ground, with the She community to ensure that we are getting towards, achieving this SDG? Okay,
so at the dialogue, the entire women body, the community, are going to discuss there. But within the She community agenda, we are focusing mostly on first educating the people, making the people understand why they have to develop a culture of independence, why they have to develop their skills, and not just developing a skill and being mediocre at it, but being a master at what you do, and then giving them whatever resources we can, because of course we have been doing trainings. Some people go to towns, urban areas, schools, rural areas, going to train people, but at the end of the day, they don't have the resources to actually put that training into practice. So we are joining forces with other organizations.
Okay.
And then as the women are coming together, we are going to find strategic ways and partners how we can practicalize this whole thing and get to the least of the people.
Okay, so who are these partners we're talking about?
Okay, so currently we are partnering Ghana and Ghana Innovation Hub and an MDF, Management for Development Fund. These are the three people, the three organizations that we are partnering currently on the Global SDG Agenda 158 dialogue.
Yeah.
Now, after that, we are seeking a lot of partners, people who, from the private sector, from the public sector, to come and be part, because it is not a small job. Let me put it that way. It is a lot of work.
Okay.
From education to practical skill training to giving them knowledge about management and all of these.
Okay, so this is your contribution to ensure, you know, that the UN's SDG goals have been achieved.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. So, you know, you were talking about the fact that we're going to look at SDG 5, which has to do with gender equality.
Yeah.
Has a lot of, you know, education gone down the grassroots, because we still live in a society, especially here in Africa, where we believe in the superiority of the male gender. So how do you intend to, you know, get people to begin to understand what is She community doing?
Okay, I believe that government is doing their best. They are doing what they can, but we can do more.
Can do more.
We can do more because there are a lot of women. We form the majority. And if we session a few people and say we are empowering this small group of women, it means that out of 100 women, we are empowering, or we are educating, we are pushing only 1% of these women. And it goes a long way to limit us in so many ways. So She community is doing a lot of education. From the secondary schools to the universities, to the women in the rural areas, to women in the market, professional women, entrepreneurs, and all of that.
Okay.
Now, at the dialogue, we are equally going to find ways of getting our women across board, at least from Ghana, because our target is Africa. We are going to help create an Africa that is independent.
Okay, so when is this dialogue happening and at where?
Okay.
Where are we having it?
The dialogue is on the 8th. That's this Saturday at the Accra Digital Center. Accra Digital Center is in between STC Yard and VIP when you are going to Circle.
Okay.
So yes, you will see it boldly in between STC and VIP. Accra Digital Center is there. When you get to Accra Digital Center, you go to Ghana Innovations Hub. That is exactly where we are having the dialogue.
Oh, awesome.
And it starts at 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Yes.
Great. So I'm sure you would have faced some kind of challenges, you know, in trying to execute what you have been doing over the years. What kind of challenges have they been?
Well, challenges are everywhere. Challenges are part of what develops a human being. If you don't have any challenge, you're not going to grow. So I don't usually see them as challenges.
Okay.
I see everything that compels a human being to go to the extra mile or do well as a plus, as an education. Okay. So I don't really see them as challenges, but I'll say that getting people involved, getting people of like minds, because one thing we lack as a country and as a people is collaborations. Everybody wants to be independent, right? But when you look at the developed countries and the developed world, they have been working together. Teams have been working together. So that's about the basic. Usually we will say finances, getting people to support financially and all, but that is a secondary matter. All
right, so what positive side have we say this has all had on our communities?
Like the global SDGs agenda?
No, so far, your engagement with the women and all that. So what positive things have come out of it so far? The impact.
Well, we have been able to engage a lot of people to bring themselves out. When I say to bring themselves out, people are actually realizing their potentials. People are gaining a sense of independence, a sense of wanting to be independent, wanting to do things on their own, wanting to be better at what they do. And so if it's an entrepreneur, I want to be a better entrepreneur. I want to take whatever I have across the borders of Africa. If it is somebody who is starting, I want to be independent. I want to start this on my own. I know I can do this. I want to do it. And we've been able to reach a lot of lives, from young people to, you won't imagine, amazingly older people.
Okay, thank you very much for, honoring our invitation to have you here.
Thank you too.
And I would like to say that we all will be coming, on the 8th of February to the Accra Digital Center to be part of the dialogue that is ongoing by the She community. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you. So we'll be going for a quick commercial break. When we come back, the show continues. Come back from the short break that we had. We are delving into the second part of the show, and I told you earlier that we are going to be looking at a particular kind of cancer, and that's a cancer that affects the cervix, and it's popularly known as the cervical cancer. And to help us to address it today is Matron Doris AJ from the Ridge Hospital here in Accra. You're welcome, madam.
Thank you.
Okay, so on the health tip, it was said there that if you want to prevent cervical cancer, you don't need to have unprotected sex. Is that what it is?
Yes, but again, you have to be very careful too, because the virus that causes cervical cancer is found in both men and women who are affected. Their pubic area, in the groin there. So sometimes the condom does not cover the place so much. It is the female condom that can do a lot of the covering. So female condom then now helps more than the male condom.
Oh, wow. So if you say that the men also have got they carry the infection that brings about the cervical cancer because it's transmitted from, unprotected sex.
Yes, it can be both ways. If a man is infected, let's say a man has contact with a woman whose private area or pelvic area is infected with the virus, then he picks it and then transmits it to another woman. Then that woman also gives it to another man. So it goes on and on and on. So we are not sure who infects who first, but like it said, once the man is infected, then he can infect the woman. Once the woman is infected, she can infect a man too. So,
and this infection is that the HPV?
Yes, the human papilloma virus, or HPV.
Okay, so a man is able to do, like, if a man carries it, the man doesn't have a cervix. Yes. So what does it do to the man? Because
it does nothing to the man. So as women, we have the cervixes. So it is the women who suffer from cervical cancer, not men. So if a man is infected and he sleeps or has sex with a woman, then he leaves the virus with a woman, and it can stay with the woman for a very long time, as long as 10 to 20 years, before it shows up to start giving you symptoms of cervical cancer.
Oh, okay. It can incubate for close to 10 years.
Yes.
So eventually...
More than that. Okay. Let's say 20, even up to about 30 years.
So when it eventually begins to exhibit itself, what kind of symptoms are we looking at for?
That is when a woman who is, let's say, menopausal, she's stopped having her menses, and then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you start bleeding. Then we say she may be having cervical cancer. Or you have sex with a man and you start bleeding. That's not the normal thing. Or you have abnormal vaginal discharge, which is very offensive. These stages are, then you have reached the stage of cancer of the cervix itself. But when it starts, you don't have any symptom.
In other words, when we begin to see these abnormalities, the pain during intercourse, and then maybe the kind of bleeding you're talking about, we just need to get ourselves screened.
Yes. Yes. So once you are a woman from age 21, you are sexually active, it's important that you have yourself screened regularly, as regular as 2 to 3 years. Every 2 years, when you screen and you are told you are negative, it means it can go on and live your normal life till, let's say, the next 2 to 3 years, and then you have yourself checked again. Yeah.
Okay, so if you're not sexually active, is it possible for you to have this kind of cancer?
It's not very likely. If you've never had sex, the percentage is very, very, very low. I can't tell how much that is, but it's known that it is sexually transmitted. So once you are not having sex, then it means you are more protected or more, free from cervical cancer than someone who is sexually active.
Okay.
Yeah.
So could you give us, a descriptive expression of how the cervix looks like, where exactly gets affected for us to know that we're beginning to exhibit such symptoms?
Okay, so what I have here is a dummy of the uterus or the womb. So this is somebody's womb here, and then the cervix. So the cervix is at the neck of the womb, and it protrudes into the vagina. So this is just a beautiful cervix with a hole, which is where the baby can come out of, where when your woman is menstruating, the blood flows through. So this is a model, and then an example of a uterus or womb with a cervix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So this is the part that the cervical cancer can affect, this area. Okay. And then it can travel up if nothing is done about it.
Okay, so now, one, we know that, having unprotected sex is very likely to, expose you to cervical cancer.
Yes.
Could we also say that some of these female hygienic products that are, in town these days, could they also be contributing to something around cervical cancer?
I would say no. They in particular will not contribute to it, but let's say a woman has abnormal vaginal discharge, and you know how women are. Anything that happens, they want to put something there, or we like putting things into the vagina, as in wanting to tighten the place or clean up. So someone can tell you, oh, for me, I use gauze to wand around my finger and then clean the place. Even if a woman gets a toothbrush, she would use it to brush the place because she thinks the vagina is not clean. But vagina, as we know, normally or naturally cleans itself. So the things that are pushed there will not cause it, but they sort of erode the surface of the cervix. And then once it is raw, once the man comes to you and he has a HPV, then it deposits and then can travel up quickly.
Okay.
So what we put there might not cause a problem, but then the effect of what it does there is what becomes a problem.
Okay, so still on the causes of cervical cancer, there was this rumor around that IUDs can contribute to cervical cancer. Could you tell us right now what the situation is around IUDs and the link to cervical cancer?
IUD does not cause cervical cancer because the IUD is inserted into the uterus. So it passes through the opening here and then is put into the womb just to prevent the woman from having unwanted or unintended pregnancy. So for people to say that IUD is causing cervical cancer, today I'm saying that no, it doesn't cause cervical cancer.
So it's a safe family planning method.
It's very safe because it's non-hormonal. It stays there as long as 12 years. And the woman will go through her normal bleeding. Sometimes the bleeding may be a bit heavier than her normal periods because it's a foreign body in the womb. It just lies there dormant, doing nothing, only preventing the man's sperm from meeting with her eggs to prevent pregnancy.
Okay.
So the IUD, the copper, will be there. Sometimes when it comes out, it may change the color a bit. But again and again, I will say that I've not seen IUD causing cervical cancer.
Oh, nice. It's very good to have to know all of this. What are the risk factors, around cervical cancer?
Yes, some of the risk factors are the age at which the woman has her first sex. If it's said that a woman who has sex at the age of, let's say, below 18, even below 17, as early as 16, 15, people are having mutual sex now, then that girl or lady is at risk. Then again, someone who has multiple sexual partners, where a woman, every year she changes her sexual partner, she is at risk. A woman whose partner also changes partners is also at risk. So let's say I am sitting here and my partner is only one. Everybody knows that I have one partner. But again, if my partner has different partners, then I am at risk. Again, a lady whose parents, let's say the mother or sister, died out of cervical cancer is also at risk. Then women who are immunosuppressed, let's say she has HIV. Once your immunity is low, anything like cervical cancer can affect you. Then again, those who bleach a lot, then they also are at risk. And women who smoke cigarettes, you know, cigarette contains nicotine. This nicotine, or what is in the cigarette that can cause lung cancer and the rest, would also affect the cervix. And then,
so how is bleaching linked to it? Bleaching is supposed to be on the skin.
Yes, so you know we have skin cancer, so it's, erodes the surface of the skin. So this hydroquine in the bleaching creams will enter the system and then open up the place for you to be affected. If let's say you had sex, let's say you were 12 years and you were infected, then those viruses find their way in there.
Okay.
So and then women who are susceptible to STIs, let's say she has, every time she's having STIs and all that, you know, the place becomes eroded and then becomes raw. So once the virus is around, it can affect you.
Okay, so what would you say around oral sex? Because we understand from what you just said right now that the infection lives around the groin area. But in the case where maybe the infected man doesn't really have sexual intercourse with you, but rather engages in oral sex, is there a way you could also contract it?
Here the HPV then goes into your throat and could affect the throat. Maybe the HPV will give you throat cancer and all those mouth and, you know, chest cancer. So throat and then your mouth cancer. So the HPV, once he carries it and it goes here, it can affect the throat too. Yes.
So what are the most common surgical procedures for this?
So the cancers, we have precancer and we have the cancer itself. When you have the precancer, we do the test and there's a precancer. For the younger women between the age of 25 and 45, then we have cryotherapy. That is not as in, I will not say it is a surgery per se. We don't cut anything, but the cervix is frozen to distract or to stop the growth of the abnormal lesion or abnormal growth or the virus that is destroying the place. But if you have the cancer itself, then the doctor, depend on the stage of the cancer, he may do a LEEP, what we call LEEP, or a total hysterectomy where the womb is removed together with the cervix so it doesn't travel up. So it depends on the stage of the cancer. Sometimes it's just around the cervix area where it hasn't traveled beyond a certain point. Then they will remove the uterus and then it doesn't affect. But once it goes into the certain parts of the vaginal walls and up there, then other things come in where they go through chemotherapy and then radiotherapy. That one, no surgery is done. But once it is affecting just a portion, then the uterus can be removed.
All right, Matron, even though I want to continue with this, I'd like us to get some inspirational quotes to get us going, and after which we'll come back and we'll continue the conversation. Do stay tuned. And you're welcome back from that break. Our WhatsApp lines have been opened and you can send in your questions so that our matron will get to answer them for you. And our WhatsApp line number is 020-2222-054. I'll take it again, 020-2222-054. That's our WhatsApp line. Do send in your questions and then we'll have them answered for you. So, Matron,
yes.
What other therapies, could we use to treat the cervical cancer?
Like I said earlier on, precancerous lesions, we use cryotherapy, And then that one is the uterus that is frozen. No, the cervix is frozen to shed off the abnormal cells. And then again, colposcopy comes in at a point, but it's not a treatment. It's a diagnosing kind of treatment. Okay. So then the doctor may say that, okay, I can't see these things well, so we need a colposcopy where the cells there are looked under a magnifying, you know, kind of machine. So we use the light to look at the cervix, to look at how the cells have changed. And then maybe a part of the place is taken for histology so that we can see if it is really cancerous or not.
Okay.
So it's not like a treatment, it's a diagnose to diagnose cervical cancer.
Okay.
And then the hysterectomy, where the uterus or the womb is removed together with the cervix.
And how is this procedure? Are they painful procedures, or you need some psychological preparations?
The colposcopy is not a painful thing. It's just similar to how the pap smear or the cervical screening is done. So the small instrument is used in the vagina to expose the cervix, and then whatever light is used to look at it. But the surgery is surgery, where there's a cut and then removal of certain parts of the body.
Oh, okay. So in treating cervical cancer, we're going to take in some kind of medication. We need to take, is it a nutritional based kind of treatment? What do we really need to do to be able to, you know, treat cancer? Must it always be based on surgery? Can nutrition help us with this?
Nutrition, I would say in a way, yes, but that alone does not work. And I can't say if you eat this and that, your cancer is treated. What I know is that pre-cancer, and then when it is cancerous and maybe no surgery can be done, then you go into chemotherapy where medications are used to treat the cancer, or radiotherapy where an X-ray form of rays are put at the spots where the cancer is to treat you. So for food, I don't know about any food.
Okay, that's because you know
People
how we
say
get
all
information
sorts of
right
things,
now around social media. They say
Yes.
that, oh, this cancer is really nothing
Yes.
bad. It's something that has been, doctored by certain people. You just need to eat certain kinds of food and you'll be fine and all of that. Some schools of thought believe so.
But you know what happens? Sometimes people come, and when the news is broken to them, that let's say your cervix has changed, the cells are changing. Maybe you have pre-cancer, so we'll do this and that for you. Some will get panicked and they'll go and never come back. And you see them at the time when nothing can be done about it. So they go and say, maybe I was given this food, or I was asked to take this medication for the thing to go off. It doesn't work. They come rather in a bad state. I've seen cervical cancer patients who, if something had been done in a few months after they had been diagnosed, then they would have, saved the situation. But they go and never come back 1 year or 6 months or 1 year, and then they come in a bad state such that, you are helpless. There's nothing you can do for the woman, and it goes to some bad state.
So the treatment that we follow at the moment, do they have side effects?
Yes, some do. You see, some women go through the chemotherapy and the skin pigmentation, the color changes, maybe the palms will become black, the hair, goes off. It's due to the strong nature of the chemotherapy or the treatment, the medication that is used to kill the cancer cells. But after some time, the hair grows back. So side effects, sometimes they go through certain situations when they become very weak because of the medication. But they are fine. They go through and they are fine.
Okay, so
most of them.
Can a cervical cancer patient get pregnant?
Not really, because the cervix is affected and you need to have sex to get pregnant. So unless, of course, you got pregnant before it showed up that you have cervical cancer, and that's one, then surgery can be done to take the baby out when your system is strong. So it depends on how well the patient is, and then the doctor or the gynecologist or whoever is taking care of the woman will say this and that. So they have to put a plan in place to treat the woman and to manage her. Otherwise, once you have been diagnosed of cervical cancer, you don't even have the urge to have the sex.
Oh, okay. Wow. So, RAGE is actually creating a lot of awareness around cervical cancer.
Yes.
I mean, this month entirely has been dedicated to screening and awareness from the RAGE Hospital. We must commend the hospital for taking this kind of initiative.
Thank you.
It started yesterday, right?
Yes.
So how has patronage been? Are people coming?
Very, 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 very much. And yesterday we started at 8. By 2, we've seen over 100 women.
Wow.
Yes. And today has not been different. It's going on and on and on. We said 8 to 2, but we find people coming after 2 p.m. when nothing can be done. So they are happy. It's been, I would say it's challenging. It's very, very interesting to see how the awareness has gone. Even January, when we started creating the awareness, it wasn't that easy because a lot of people were turning in to come and have their test done, though it wasn't free, and they were ready to pay how much. I mean, we mentioned the price that they have to pay. It's
to
like
get
they've
screened.
never heard about it and they are rushing to come and do it. So I think the awareness creation has been very, very good. And yesterday and today, we've seen more than 200 people.
Wow, that's commendable.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be going for a short commercial break. We will be right back. Do stay tuned. You are welcome back, and this is the African Women's Voices. Our phone lines have been activated, and you can reach us on 0555 65 7278, 0555 65 7278. So call us now, and then we can also take your questions. But we have a message on WhatsApp, and it's coming from Josephine from Tema. Okay, you said we should make sure we actually read your question so you can sleep in peace. Josephine, we are reading your question right now. It says, please ask the midwife if contraceptives cause cancer, either of them. I take the injectables and people are saying it causes cancer.
No, the injectable doesn't cause cancer. In actual fact, contraceptives do not cause cancers. But again, people talk of, like we said earlier on, where
IUD.
Someone said IUD causes the cervical cancer. The main cause is not known, but like we are saying, HPV, that's the human papilloma virus. Once you get into contact with it and your risk factor is high, then you can get cervical cancer. Otherwise, contraceptives do not.
Okay, so I have another question here. It says we should ask you, if you do pap smear, do you have to also have an HPV also? I had my pap smear done in November 2019, but someone said I need to do the HPV even though the pap smear is negative.
It is no. Once she's done her pap smear is negative, she can go without it. But some people say they want to see if they have the virus.
Okay.
Once you have the virus, it doesn't mean it will show that you have the cancer or not. Virus is virus. Unless it starts changing the cells there, then you know that you have to do something about it. So some people will do the liquid-based, diagnosing test, where it's also like pap smear. So you check if you have the HPV or not. So it is here and there. So you can do pap smear and do the HPV test too.
Okay, so but if you find out that you've got the HPV virus, can that be treated before it gets to cervical cancer?
Yes, they have treatments for them. But once it hasn't shown off to say that it is starting, it started destroying the place, then there's no big point about it. But the main things we do now is the pap smear or the VIA, but HPV is also there. It's not every institution like our place, we don't do it as a routine.
Okay. All right, Josephine, so I want to believe you're going to be able to have your sleep because Matron has actually answered your question. Okay, so, I'm told we have a caller right now. Hello?
Yeah, hello, madam.
Please, what's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Dixon, calling from the Volta region.
Okay, from the Volta region. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm very fine too, thank you. So go ahead with your question.
I learned there's a free screening going on at which hospital?
Okay.
If you are coming, which processes are you going through?
All right, you want to know the processes, what you need to be able to get screened, right?
Yes, please.
So that means you're speaking on behalf of a loved one who is a woman?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right, matron.
There is no actual process. You just walk into the Greater Accra Regional Hospital or Ridge Hospital and then look for the reproductive health unit or family planning unit, as people know it to be. And the time is 8 a.m. and to 2 p.m. So you walk in when you are not in your period or you are not pregnant. If you are between the age of 25 to 45, then we can do the free screening for you. But those above 45 years will have to do a pap smear, which is not free. It comes with a cost. And those below 25 years, 21 to 24, would have to do a pap smear. And it goes for 120 Ghana cedis.
Okay. So if I should get you right, 25, between 25 and 45.
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And say hi to everyone looking at us right now from Volta region. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you too. So we have a message here from Adam. He says, I want to ask Dr. Doris, our matron, how much will it cost for the screening?
The screening, what we are doing free is, it's actually 30 cedis, but it's just for, the free is just for the month of February. So by the end of February, it's not going to be free anymore. That type is 30 Ghana cedis. And then the pap smear, which is for above 45 and below 25, is 120 Ghana cedis.
Okay, so we have another caller, Selassie. Hello,
Hello.
Selassie. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Please, I'm enjoying the show, and then I love the topic also.
Okay.
And then I want to ask, with the HPV, is that it is being found at the pelvic area, your pubic side of a man also?
Yes.
Good. Okay, so I'm asking, what if the person is well shaped before during intercourse or something? Is the virus attached to the skin or the pubic hair?
Okay.
Yes, the virus is in the pubic area, so it can be attached to the hairs. It can be on actually skin to skin, so it's on the skin, and bathing does not even take it off. It's like it's attached to your body. So once there is skin to skin, friction during intercourse, then it is transmitted.
No, okay.
Yeah. All right, Selassie,
Okay.
have we answered your question?
That is exactly what I wanted to
All
know.
right, so were you also calling from Volta region?
No, I'm calling from Ashaiman.
Ashaiman. Okay, hi to Ashaiman folks.
Yeah,
So
hi.
keep watching eTV, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we'll be rounding up in a bit. So what advice do you have for viewers, to prevent cervical cancer?
Yes, what I'll tell all our women and men and everybody is that we should be careful about our sexual behavior. And if you have one partner, it should be that one partner. And both of you should be faithful with each other. If oral sex and those things are coming, let's be very careful the way we go about this. We will not say we should stop having sex or that, but then you know your limits. You should go according to it. And then let's get screened. Once you have started having sex, ladies, let's start having regular screening every 2 years, every 3 years to prevent it. So that if something will happen, we see it quickly. And we can vaccinate our young girls from age 9 years upwards who have never had sex can be vaccinated. There is a vaccine that can be given to the girls who have not started having sex. So basically, we shouldn't be changing partners indiscriminately, having sex here and there, changing partners every year, like we change our everything, so that we'll protect ourselves from all these preventable conditions. That's all I have to say.
Well said, Matron. We really enjoyed having you in the studio today. And we look forward to having you, to discuss other health issues that affect women. Thank you very much for passing through.
Thank you very much.
All right, viewers, this has been the African Women's Voices, and this show is part of our contribution to the United Nations SDG Goal 5 around gender equality. We want to say we're going to see you same time next week, and do stay tuned for eTV because we have an interesting lineup for you. Bye-bye.